How to get your small indie game to show up to more customers on Steam. Hey, how's it going? My name is Dariusz, and if you're a small indie game dev and your game isn't, getting any visibility on Steam, then here's a simple marketing strategy to help your game show up to more customers on Steam. So first, let me show you what the strategy is, and then I'll show you how it works. So, how can I get my game to show up to more customers? That's the big question, right? So basically, Steam shows games to customers in many different ways, right? You have the new releases, you have your specials, you have your genre tags, you got your recommended based on, the games you play, and you got like special events like what's going on today, the Next Fest, right? So basically, Steam's goal is to match games with the right players who love those, games because, it's good for business, right? They don't want to show a game to a player who might not like it because, that's bad for business, right? They'll leave and, not buy the game. But still, most small indie games won't even be seen by customers on Steam. And that's because most game devs put up a Steam page and then just hope for the best, right? But putting up a Steam page and waiting is not a good marketing plan. That's because a static Steam page with no engagement, tells Steam that this game might not be liked by players, so Steam won't show, this page to players, or on those tabs. So what can you do? How do you get people to engage on your Steam page so that it, tells Steam that there's interest in your game and so that, they show your game to more customers? All right, let's tackle that next. And by the way, if you find this content useful, please subscribe because I got more info to help you, find more players for your game. All right, so visibility on Steam is driven by fans. So the strategy is this. If more fans engage with, a Steam page, then, the Steam algo kicks in and starts putting that game into more places like, new releases, specials, and events and recommendations, right? And I mean, don't take my word for it, right? If you haven't done so already, I highly recommend you watch Steam's video about how games get surfaced to players, and I'll have the link below just in case you haven't seen it. But the one key takeaway from this video is this. It's not Steam that pushes games, it's the fans that push the games, right? And yeah, it's very possible that, big studios get better treatment on Steam, and sure, but still, a static Steam page that has no engagement is not a good marketing strategy. Okay, great. Then what do you do, right? How do you get more customers to engage with your Steam page? Well, let me show you an example of exactly how this works. The key point here I want to make is that you want to make it easy for customers to find you. And so the best way to start getting engagement on your Steam page so that, more customers find you is to start posting news and updates in your Steam Community Hub. And let me show you an example. So a popular indie game that is, getting a lot of attention right now is Rue Valley. And if you go to their news section, you'll notice that the very first post is, what is Rue Valley, right? They basically want to explain what their game is all about. And this was posted in 2022. And this is before they got attention from a publisher and before they started posting on Twitter. And they have about 4,000, followers on Twitter. But again, my point is that they started, somewhere and they used, the Steam Community Hub. So my point is, you got to be the push for visibility, right? And Steam makes it very easy to do this. They basically, give you a platform to help you market your game. But what most game devs do, is their marketing strategy is to put up a Steam page, maybe post on Twitter or on Reddit or TikTok and wait, right? And they hope that, the platforms will do all the marketing for them. But again, hoping and waiting is not a good strategy. You gotta be the push, right? And to start getting engagement on your Steam page so that, fans push your game and give you more visibility, then you have to, look at Rue as an example. Simple posts about what your game is, how the mechanics work, how the story behind your game. All of this effort, will pay off because you're making it easy for the players not only to find you, but also to engage with you. But I know what you're probably thinking, and that is, what about social media, right? Isn't that better? Isn't that where, most people are anyway, right? Like, I mean, you probably even tried, posting on your Steam Community Hub and you got no engagement, right? Well, even if you manage to get a lot of traction from social media, this doesn't solve the problem with, having a static Steam page that gets no engagement. Just because you're getting a lot of traffic doesn't mean Steam is going to show you, or show your game to more customers. And again, don't take my word for it. Here's what Steam says in their visibility, document, and I'll have the link below. Specifically, I want you to read this part where they say, store page traffic doesn't matter. So they say this. The traffic landing on your store page is not a factor in your Steam store visibility. More users landing on your page may result in additional sales, which can impact your visibility, but traffic alone doesn't matter. So when I say fans push, visibility on Steam, what I mean is, people buying or wish listing or, engaging on your Steam Community Hub, right? But you got to start somewhere. You got to, be that initial push so that, players can start engaging in wish listing and start buying your game. And again, just because you're getting traffic to your Steam page through, social media or YouTube or whatever, doesn't mean Steam is going to start, showing your game to more customers. But if you have a lot of content in your community hub that a player can engage with, then it tells Steam that your page isn't dead on the vine, right? It shows Steam that since players are engaging with your Steam page, it means that those are the right players for this game, right? And remember, Steam's goal is to match the right player or the right fan to the right game because it's good for business. And a Steam page that is getting a lot of engagement tells Steam that the right fans are, finding the right game. So here's the key takeaway I want you to get from, this video. And that is, if you have a static Steam page, then it's very hard for players to discover you. And that's because Steam is less likely to show your Steam page if there's very little engagement. And even if you manage to get, a lot of traffic to your Steam page, there is no guarantee that Steam will, show your game to customers. So to help you, increase your chances of getting Steam to push your game and, get it in front of more customers, then you have to create content that players, can engage with, right? And to do this, Steam basically gives you a content platform to help you market your game, basically your community, your Steam community hub. So put in the effort, do the work. There's no shortcuts in business. A sit and wait mentality isn't going to get your game, in front of a lot of customers. So do this right now. Let's put in some effort. And so here's your action step to get your game in front of more Steam customers. So do this right now. Pick a day this week and block off 1 hour, and then go to your community hub on your Steam page and make the first post, explaining, what is your game, right? Write quickly, explain what your game is, and then take 15 minutes to edit, and then publish. And that's all you got to do. And then next week on the same day, do the same thing, but this time, pick one mechanic in your game and explain how it works. So you want to break it down into chunks, because the more you tell, the more you sell, right? The idea I want you to get is that you don't have to be perfect. It's mostly about action. It's about getting stuff done incrementally over time. And it's not about grinding or pumping out content, every day. It's not trying to go viral or, on Twitter or on TikTok. It's not about trying to, get likes. It's about, slow, long-term growth. It's about, creating evergreen content so that, months from now, new players can still discover your game. And if you just rely on social media, then you're playing, the short-term game where you're only good as your last post and you're always chasing, those numbers. And that's all you care about is, how many likes or whatever you got, right? And basically that's how they suck you in, right? That's why they don't want you to leave their platform. So they figured out a way to, hijack, that part of your brain where you like seeing those numbers go up, right? But a better strategy is to put all your efforts and your time into your Steam page and community hub, because that's where your customer is hanging out, right? That's where, people who want to buy games are hanging out. So it makes sense to put all your resources and time and effort in creating content on that platform instead of the other platforms, even though those platforms are bigger. So do this right now. Pick a day next week, block off 1 hour, and when the day comes, take 45 minutes explaining what your game is, then take 15 minutes to edit, and then post and publish, right? Then do the same thing next week and explain, your features of how your game works. So, you probably have 3 or 4 features, so you can have that's 3 or 4, posts, right? And then once you get the ball rolling, that's going to give you more ideas to, start pumping out content, plus your updates, and probably, there's another Next Fest or whatever, maybe you have a demo coming out. There's always news about your game, right? So you'll never run out of content. But that's the thing, you got to commit to doing this simple strategy until your game is released and even after your game is released. And I promise you that this slow, incremental, long-term thinking will pay off, and you will start seeing more engagement on your Steam page, which in turn, will get Steam to show your game to more customers, and it's like a ball rolling, right? But again, like I said, you got to commit, you got to put in the effort, because nobody or no platform or no guru or not even me can do this for you, right? Anyway, if you have any questions, I invite you to reach out. My info is below. Again, my name is Dariusz. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and good luck marketing your game.